What do we got?
You're probably the ones who should like be able to like know how this starts. Usually, it's your cast.
I
don't know what you want to do. Like,
no, we stumble into every one of them.
Yeah. No, that. It does sound like that. Yeah.
I am just getting brain screwed today, man.
Why? Why was that bad?
It sounds like you guys stumble into shit every day, every week.
We do that on purpose, Dave. What are you worried about?
Yeah, it's part of the charm.
We just kind of,
you know what you're getting into.
We're just talking, and then suddenly there's music behind it.
No, Jason.
What?
We don't stumble into it on purpose. I lean into it because that's just who we are, and I can't get my shit together, man.
We have to be unprofessional on purpose just because we can't actually manage to be professional.
Because an hour and a half wasn't enough, we are continuing the Joker conversation. This time with our friend Effie Ophelders.
Is that my cue to say hi?
No.
Was that my cue to say hi? Jeez. You introduced me first.
It's fine now.
That's very polite.
It is fine now.
Oh.
You've said it now.
Yeah, no, I'll take that.
It's Adam.
I'm David C. Robertson, though. That voice you just heard was Jason Goss.
Hi.
And this is our guest host, Effie Ophelders of Stealing the Remote.
Oh, that's my cue to say hi. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good start.
Looking back, it's all very clear.
You're listening to an episode of DC On Screen that is very laid back. The podcast that covers the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, gives honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believes that every version of a property is valid, even if we just don't want it to be. If it has been released, it is fair game. So beware of spoilers and welcome to the show. Joker has been released, and we've already talked about it, me and Jason.
So, like,
Effie,
spoilers. Still, more spoilers, always.
Yeah, spoilers. Spoilers.
I'm very curious where you're going to put the music there, because it's...
Oh,
I screwed that one royally.
You're good.
Like, I'm going to enjoy, like, how I ruined it, but I still, like, poo. It's going to be interesting. I love it already.
Oh, it'll still be there.
No, I expect it to
I'm
be
not
there.
editing it out.
Exactly. That's why I listen to you guys. You don't edit the stuff out that other people would edit out.
No, fuck that.
Those are the best parts.
We're going to fuck up together.
Exactly.
Do you sincerely think those are the best parts?
I mean, I wouldn't be paying for your Patreon if, like, the chasing squirrel shit wasn't somewhat interesting to me.
That's true.
We do have a lot of fun with those.
Yeah. And usually they're just in the episode, so, you know.
A lot of times we just don't edit them out because I'm too tired.
That happens.
Yeah, no, that's a
happens
good
lot.
excuse.
There's a lot of, like, finishing recording at 11:30 p.m. that's going on.
Well, glad to sort of adjust your schedule and make it happen earlier in the day for you.
Oh, you would think that would be a thing, but it never comes to be.
It never works out. We try, to be fair.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. We have on occasion had like a healthy time to record, sat down, done it, knocked it out, did everything we wanted to, and went to bed at a decent hour.
It feels like most of the time when we like start earlier, we bullshit up front way too much and don't actually get to the recording until way too late. Or in the middle of the show, we take way more time on all the topics we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds more realistic.
We feel like, oh, hey, we have a minute. Yeah. And then it's a 4-hour show. And
the extra time that we have when we actually allot ourselves, when we're on schedule and give ourselves extra time appropriately, it turns into extra rope with which we hang ourselves.
Very fitting, truly.
Yeah.
The suicidal tendencies and all.
Yeah.
That's yeah, no, I feel that.
Oh, well, we did an hour and a half on it. What did you think?
Yeah, good point. I vaguely recall what I listened to today, but like I've heard your review, but that's about it. I just have thoughts because that's kind of what this movie does. And I mean, you can get all the stuff that it's well made out of the way because that's sort of like, yeah, it's a good film. That's not the thing really that's worth discussing, I think, because there's not
more
a lot.
What did it leave you with kind of thing?
Yeah, the content, that's more the thing because I was impacted quite yeah, not literally, but like emotionally. This one, for a movie that's really about pain, it definitely hurts. It's not a comfortable watch.
No. I had several people tell me that it will make me uncomfortable, and I thought, well, great, let's do this.
Yeah, no, and I think I just wasn't quite prepared for how uncomfortable it would make me on the first watch.
Nice.
But that also, because I didn't, for instance, expect that he would be having the pseudo-Bulber affect, the laughing fits that make no sense to anyone around him. Like, I'd heard the interviews that he had been looking at people with that condition, but I figured, yeah, that's a good way to, like, find your creepy laugh for the Joker. But it hit me just a little more how sad it was, you know? It connected, really. But,
and the, like, the worn out laminated card explaining himself.
Yeah, exactly. And he must have had, like, many of those. And still, it's like every day you have to hand that out, and
and I get a little annoyed because I didn't see the lady on the bus hand it back.
Yeah, same. I was like, did you just keep that to like tell your husband at home, like, hey, look what I got on the bus last?
You already have a crazy story. You don't need to keep the man's card.
Exactly. You don't really.
He's clearly
need
dealing
proof.
with something.
Yeah. He needs that card. Just give him the damn card.
Yeah.
How much did you enjoy it later on when he explained that all that time it wasn't an accident, he was meant to be laughing that way, and that's who he was?
I appreciate that, but I think it is also somewhat undercut by like the rest of the movie, because I don't feel like it's reflected or framed as a story about a mentally ill man like finding his liberation and everything, because that liberation is rooted in violence and scaring other people, and he is made the villain eventually. And I think like they fully expect the audience to lose sympathy at some point, and I think I'm the weird one for not really losing sympathy, because I'm really just like, yeah, well, he's making stupid choices, but he's like barely in control. So there's that issue for me that I really just feel bad for him throughout, no matter what he does, really, because he's just being fucked over.
I mean, maybe you're weird. I don't know. I felt much the same way.
I did too.
Like, he got his meds taken away from him. Everyone treated him like shit, rich and poor alike.
Publicly made fun of on within a product that he apparently cherished. Mm-hmm. That's got to sting.
Yeah.
Everything hurt. Like it's just, and especially the meds is just like, well, at this point, who knows what's like left of him? Because I don't even like myself without my meds. And he's on more kinds of meds than I am.
Yeah.
If only to obscure his diagnosis, like 7 meds could be anything.
It could, and they intentionally obscured the diagnosis, and I do kind of like that because it makes it leaves it open to some kind of you can project into it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so, but it's also a way to sort of generalize it to like, oh, he's just crazy, you know, and that's also, otherwise you end up with like, oh, it's this specific condition, and your portrayal of it isn't really accurate and also problematic, but. Right. Yeah, you can't really win on this one, I think, because of the story you're telling.
No, and there was some worry, and I've I think I've been able to articulate it a little bit better now that I've slept on it. But there was some worry that you would take this disaffected person, and some people would relate to him and think of the violence as some kind of prescription for finding their voice. And I don't think the film really told that story, but like I think there's a hint of ignorance in that idea.
I agree. I think there is, like, that's not the story they're telling. No, exactly. I think if you take that away from this film, you're watching an entirely different movie. But that whole media circus...
Like a deep misunderstanding of mental health and what actually helps it. It's...
Oh, no, absolutely, because he's not really helping himself. He's just feeling manic for a bit, and that's better than being depressed in some instances, but not really great.
It's not better as far as outcomes, but it feels better. Which is why, for instance, with bipolar, it's really hard to keep people on their medication. When they feel better, they don't want to take it, and everything kind of spirals out of control shortly after.
No, precisely, because you're just like, well, this feels pretty all right. I don't want to like get that to be stable again, because stable sucks.
Yeah, stable is just kind of blah. And with manic, there's a true, there's a heightened sense of like the delusions of grandeur really take control. Like you have a huge sense of like I can do anything, I'm unstoppable. It's
Exactly,
hard
and
to
I
talk
think
somebody
that's-
into medicating that out. It's a really
think
good
that's-
feeling, you know.
Yeah, it's very accurate because I read in the newspaper, and I read these reviews just for fun because I never agree with the person writing them because they're like they know so little compared to any fan. But they somewhere along the lines they called him narcissistic, and I was like, did we watch the same movie? Like you could see those illusions of grandeur, but that's like still just slightly overly ambitious. But it's not. He's not. I don't see him as really a narcissist in this one.
That's not the right term at all to me.
He's like insecure to a fault because he's being undermined at every point, and no one can like socially interact with him because he's just weird to everyone else.
That's part of what the film talks about, especially when he's talking about when he's talking to his mom in the hospital before he kills her, and kind of says like I've never had. How does he put it? I've never had one fucking good moment or something like that.
Yeah, I've never been
one good
happy
minute.
for a fucking minute in my life, and that's
there you go.
That's just
That's not how a narcissist thinks. That's not a sentence a narcissist
No, exactly.
traditionally would say. I mean, if
And
you
I
combine
think-
narcissism with, a deep depression, maybe it's possible, but it's not. That's not what came across to me.
No, it's weird because he's not the usual sociopathic Joker in that sense. He's not a psychopath. He's not, in that sense, he's not cruel. He's aware of other people's feelings. He's even like sympathizing with the boys in the beginning. Like, oh, I should have just left them alone. They were like a couple of punks just being kids and fucking around.
Yeah.
And
In like a weirdly well-adjusted moment for this Joker, he kind of has empathy for those kids.
exactly. So and I think that's also where, that's part of the reason, it shouldn't be, I don't think it glorifies violence in that sense because it tears him down so much. But the whole media circus, like creating this expectation of violent incidents as a result of the film from people who like recognize themselves in his mission of anarchy. I think there's a difference with, for instance, the portrayal by Heath Ledger. And I think the reason that he connected with a lot of people, including some that took it the wrong way, like the person who shot up the theater that is now not showing this Joker film.
Right.
Like Ledger he was cool. He was funny. He was being smarter than everyone else. And his cruelty was like alluring, therefore. And I know a friend of mine who goes to a lot more conventions than I do, declared that most of the cosplayers of Jokers were just dicks, plain and simple. Because they're using like the excuse of the costume to be assholes to elders. And I used to be one of the one or two examples they told me about that, wasn't quite a dick. And then I either became a dick or stopped cosplaying. I'm not sure which one came first. But to me, Joker is supposed to be like purely evil, like that enigmatic, homicidal, maniacal danger to anyone around him.
Yeah.
And this one, if you want to consider him the same character at all, is very pathetic. There's not that alluring factor of like, I want to be this guy. Cause you don't want to be this guy. I very much doubt anyone would see this and want to be like him. Cause he does.
The only concern people had sometimes was, and it's still a gross misunderstanding, but some people thought that when you saw this guy, this portrayal, certain people would see him and relate to him in a way where they thought, I'm already that broken. This is a guy who represents me. And then see like his actions as a path out or some way, or at least like a path into making
feel that
their death make more sense than their life, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think I had quite a bit of that
realistic.
reaction. It's not like I know better than to like pursue his path of action, but I did really recognize a lot in just the mental illness parts, and just the depression, the suicidal tendencies, the sad part, basically. Before he grows violent, it's like, well, that's a line I shouldn't cross, probably. Like, let's not do that, and let's not admit to that on a podcast. But it's there's not that it's not a truly like happy ending even for him. Like, he enjoys it, but he still comes across as sickly, as being sorely mistaken in his observations of reality.
Yeah,
And
he's not.
there's no mistake
I should
there.
definitely do that because I can achieve that outcome. There's no good outcome here.
Precisely. There's just more tragedy, really, and sort of escapism into his head and his persona, and that's about it. Now, he does, like, inspire movement within the narrative, but that just kind of puts the movement in a bad light because of how he is portrayed. So anyone following him is immediately also, like, you don't want to be a part of that movement. And you could read it as the violence liberating him from, like, doubting his own existence, having an unintentional impact on the world around him, sort of ends his suicidal tendencies. But the framing is still, like, it's sad to go to those lengths. He's only the hero inside of his fantasy world.
Right. Yeah,
but
the
it
part
does.
that I didn't understand about that particular strain of the movie, like that little subplot emotionally, was when he kills the three guys, the three, assholes.
Mm-hmm.
It's in self-defense.
Yeah.
I mean, initially, he kills
the
two of
third
them,
guy
it
is
looked
like
in self-defense, and the other one he hunted down to leave
For
no
fun.
witnesses. But
yeah, but was it really for fun? Because I feel like at that, I don't see this guy having fun nearly anywhere in the movie, which is very uncharacteristic for a Joker. But, like, he hunts him down, but that could also just be like, fuck, I can't let this one guy walk away and
I think it was
rat
witnessing.
me out because I won't get away. Exactly. Like, that's
was just
just
like,
See, I don't
no,
think
we've already
fairly
gone
I
that
don't
far.
think it was. I don't think it. I was joking. I don't think it was for fun. I don't think it was. I can't let any witnesses get away. I think it was rage.
Yeah, that works
It could have
too.
been. I mean, it could have just been like the finally had enough falling down kind of moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The catharsis in the moment and the scene after where he's in the random bathroom, it I think stems from the finally standing up for yourself, like having some sort of agency, some sort of assertiveness, even if that assertiveness is kind of a bit much. But, like, outside of the murder, I think that's sort of the point.
Yeah. I'm not sure though. It's one of the choices that I think they made in either writing, directing, or editing this film that I don't completely understand yet, and I kind of want more time with, is the fact that the self-defense aspect of it is never mentioned for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't even try to, like, make that excuse for himself when he's on the Murray Franklin show. There's just he just confesses, like, it was murder, sure.
Even when he's
and
at home
he was
watching with his mom, watching the news with his mom and watching the Thomas Wayne interview, he still doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He's annoyed he's annoyed at Thomas Wayne for various reasons, but he's not. It doesn't occur to him that he needs to defend himself, which. Maybe that's part of the psychology of what they were building there. Was it doesn't occur to him that he needed to defend himself because, as he puts it later, like if it was just one big joke, part of the joke is I killed these three upstanding citizens and y'all give a shit. But if it was fucking me on the sidewalk, you'd step over me.
Yeah, and there's like if he. Now I forgot what you said before that. Damn it. Always
to the show.
Always. Thank you. No, I'm looking at my notes, but that's not going to help because it was responding to something. Jesus, I'm really unsure what you said now. This is my short-term memory apparently. Wow.
We can sing. We can sing in the meantime.
Oh, that's a great idea. Do we do the
keep up
Sinatra song or the That's Life or?
No, at the moment the song in my head is Elmo's song. That's because we were watching it for 2 hours this morning.
Oh, that happens. Is she at that age already? Like, oof.
Yeah, she's right about a year, so Elmo.
Yeah, okay.
Elmo's
You
her
can
boy.
start feeding them media. That's fair.
Yeah.
Start feeding them media. Jesus, a cynical outlook.
I mean, how much is she gonna retain? She's one.
That made so much sense to me. It didn't even occur to me that sounded simple. Like, oh yeah, no, you can do that.
You have to sort of
Good.
distract them. Like, it's Elmo. She's not gonna remember any of that.
No, she might accidentally learn to count. We'll be all right.
That could be cool. Yeah. Then she could do the
There are
countdown
worse
with
things
us.
to show than some Sesame Street. It's all right.
Oh, definitely. Like, you're not making her watch Joker, so that's like she's not taking away the wrong lessons from that.
No.
I'm honestly surprised you have her watching Elmo and not like Linda Carter's Wonder Woman or something.
Oh no, I'm getting there. But
She has to remember that at least. You know,
for some reason, the
wait
visage
a
of
little.
Elmo really distracts her. And by the way, Elmo's World. When you watch Elmo's World as a show and imagine him as at least a sociopathic, possibly homicidal ruler of Sesame Street, the whole show is a little bit more fun.
I can
Like,
imagine.
instead of going on adventures with people, it looks more like he walks into frame, hijacks whoever's there, and they go before he does something to them.
Well, that would make sense if you factor in the creator's motivations into Elmo's psychology.
What was the creators?
The creator was like arrested for like child porn and stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, that is weird. Now, I was sad to see that. I mean,
Okay,
apparently
I
the voice of
derailed this
Elmo
one
for
hard.
years and years and years was accused of some things, and it got cleared by a grand jury. I haven't looked into it. That's all I know. Literally all that. That's it. But it's still like I watched an episode later. I was like, I need to do more research now. This feels weird.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Tickle me Elmo indeed.
Ooh.
Oh God! You remember they fucking parachuted those things down? It was insane.
Yep.
It was absolutely insane.
They parachuted that. Wait, what?
They literally strapped Tickle Me Elmos to parachutes and dropped them out of a fucking plane because they were so scarce that they were able to create little events out of them and threw them out of the fucking plane, and parents stood there on the ground and trampled on each other to get them.
Wow, that's special. Yeah,
It was crazy.
I really got this off track. Okay, you were saying
It was
I
like-
was annoyed.
I'll bring it back.
I'll bring it
That's
back.
what those.
That's what the riot
that's
looked
what-
like.
Yeah, that's what those assholes in the Joker masks were doing. Like a week after he got sent to the asylum, they were crowding around trying to buy a Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Because
Now
they've
we
already
know how the
forgotten.
movie ends. Yeah. All these questions.
what? The movie
unanswered.
is set
No,
retro.
There's Elmos.
The movie is a little bit retro, and it's probably about 20, 25 years ago that we're talking about, and there was some looting happening. And if we had watched this movie again, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's looting a fucking Tickle Me Elmo under the arm.
Oh yeah.
I would enjoy that now very much.
I mean, I saw TVs and the regular shit, but
I remember in the 90s, people were busting in other people's cars on parking lots to get Power Rangers. Yeah. Like, you're going to have that White Ranger? Crash.
I suddenly appreciate all my toys from childhood a lot more now that I realize how much my parents have had to fight for them.
They put their lives on the line.
Exactly.
have you never seen Jingle All The Way? I mean, damn it, that shit got real.
I can't hear the title of that movie without thinking of the old Clutch Cargo Conan bit where they have the Arnold Schwarzenegger face and what's his face? I can't remember his name. The guy that does Triumph, the insult comic dog. It's his mouth over Arnold's, and he's like, "You must watch my holiday classic, Jingle All The Way." And it's been like 10 years since Jingle All The Way came out, but he just keeps bringing it up.
Right.
By the way, didn't Jingle All The Way have Phil Hartman in it?
I think so. And
Damn it.
Sinbad. How did we do that?
The circle is round. Damn it. How would we
I don't
do
know
this?
about Sinbad.
Was it not Sinbad? I thought
I don't
Sinbad
think
was in there.
so. But Phil Hartman, I think, was in a movie with Sinbad.
Maybe that's
It's
what I'm
all
thinking.
connected.
Yeah.
All the
Heard
things
before-
I've
I don't
never
think
heard
that-
of are connected.
I don't think that was mentioned on the show. I think it was before we started, but I was telling Effie she had to go listen or go check out some Phil Hartman.
Yeah, we
And,
didn't record that.
You should
shit.
check out some Phil Hartman SNL sketches, but the
You know
rest of the
what?
stuff we're talking about, not America's best foot forward.
You know what? Jingle All The Way had Sinbad and Phil Hartman.
Fuck yeah, it did. Yes.
Yeah, it did.
I
Good
thought
call.
I remembered a Novocaine scene.
Also had Jake Lloyd of Star Wars Episode 1.
Why not?
And Jim Belushi for some reason.
He just shows up places.
And
the
Rita
Belushis
Wilson.
just show up places.
Why Rita Wilson? What is this movie?
It was the big thing that
It
year.
sounds
man.
like I really need to watch this again. Because I
And
feel like
Richard
I've seen
Mole.
it. but-
Oh, I'm not sure you do. I'm not sure you do at all. I'm pretty sure
I
your
might
Christmas
not
will go
have.
just fine without it.
They had Lorraine Newman. They had Harvey Korman. They had Richard Mole, freaking Two-Face from BTAS. Now I think is a holiday classic that I have to check out.
Well, we'll do a Patreon episode just on this movie. It's not related to DC, but really, who cares?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Isn't it, though?
you just made the connection. Really, that's enough to go on, right?
The headliner of the movie is Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze. A bad Mr.
That's
Freeze,
right.
but a Mr. Freeze.
He could have
it's
been
like
a great
the
Mr.
only
Freeze.
one on the big screen, so we'll take it. You know,
Yeah, it's all we've got.
He
I
could
don't
have
know
been a
what the fuck
really great
Sinbad would
Mr.
be.
Freeze. Really.
I mean, he delivered those puns.
He did. I mean,
Different material would have made
for
a
better or
different
worse.
movie, but he delivered those puns.
he delivered the shit out of it. Wasn't-
He tried.
None of us were proud. We all felt dirty, but it happened.
Yeah, you
I
can't.
I
you can't
secretly enjoyed
unsee
them.
it.
I secretly enjoyed the puns.
Hmm.
I'm now like I'm partly trying to fan cast Sinbad into DC, and I can't figure out where I put him.
Oh, I don't know.
Like the DCEU or this new Joker first? Because
Honestly,
you could cast him in a
You know what?
sequel. Like, who knows if it will happen? But
I kind of want to see Sinbad as Harvey Bullock.
that actually might not be bad. I mean, dude comes to Birmingham every year. I can go catch him at the comedy club and find out.
Yeah.
Although his comedy house now turned into like he less and less he does the an actual hour of stand up. Now it's become like 15 minutes of stand up and like 45 to an hour and a half or whatever of just him playing the blues with his band.
Well, that's cool too, man. Ooh, Condiment King.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
where exactly did you want to fit in Condiment King?
If they did any kind of like, if they did Hush or if they did Long Halloween, where he's just like fighting different criminals throughout the year and stuff.
Fair enough. You could just make it a throwaway.
Yeah, you could have him do a throwaway thing.
Well, I don't think I would mind.
Let's have Matt
just
Reeves listen to this episode and see what he can do.
just throw that in.
Yeah.
Well, all we need is a riot scene and him just standing on the top of like a fucking fast food establishment with 2 bottles in his hand, squirting them at everybody.
We've
yelling,
got an
"I'm gonna
origin
game!"
story.
And then fucking cut scene, and we got this.
Oh boy.
And I'll laugh my dick off when I see that. It would be great.
Yeah.
I would too.
If he's like, I want to hear him go, how I relish this moment, Batman. You know.
Just Batman. Who the fuck are you?
That's the thing, though.
I
Batman
would
and
love
Robin,
to see Batman almost break down a little bit emotionally and intellectually when he sees that. Just like Condiment King coming at him and just a breakdown like, who the fuck are you? God damn it. I don't even know what kind of gimmicks to look out for anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? Condiment King. Jesus, goddamn Christ. Get your fucking ass in Arkham before I beat your ass.
I just want to see Alfred's response to what he thinks is blood in the Batman suit and then realizing this is ketchup.
Oh god.
Oh, and then a smarmy kind of like, because you know Alfred detests ketchup as an accessory to food. Being that he is generally considered a foodie.
I'm not a big fan of ketchup. I can't help it.
I love it.
Burger, hot dog, end of story.
I like it in chili.
There's like the curry
better
kind
ones.
of ketchup. It's just the regular kind is too sweet for me, and I'm like, that doesn't fit right with most.
There's
of what
a shit
people
ton of
put
sugar
on.
in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Absurd.
It's like it's syrup but red, and
It's like someone decided that the tomato was like, oh, you think you're a fruit, but fucking wait, let me pound you down and put some sugar in you. You'll taste like a goddamn fruit.
yeah, you thought you were healthy, but let's fix that, right?
Give me a fucking second.
I like ketchup.
Here's an entire sugar cane enema. Go for it, buddy.
I love how this episode has like reached the point of I love ketchup. This is our title. This is now. Yeah, no, wonderful.
No, sometimes they're just one big squirrel.
It happens.
It's a good one.
Don't even really know where we left off with the Joker. We did tie back in for a second.
I remembered along the way what I couldn't remember before. So you said
it worked.
Yeah, it'll work out. You were talking about him not defending himself by saying he was fighting back, and there might be something in there just because he's never been taught that he's supposed to fight back or stand up for himself, I think. He's just always had to take every kind of abuse, so I think it doesn't even cross his mind that he is allowed to defend himself to a certain extent.
Could be.
But that was really all I remembered and then connected to. But
the movie makes it a point. It makes a point of him not having a father figure, and for sure, I don't think it's some gender biased thing where you have to have a father figure to know how to defend yourself. But it may have been something they were building into his character, is that he didn't really have an example of that.
Yeah,
and
he's
his mom's a bit of an underfoot figure as well. I don't think he has any really body in his life that's telling him like, no, it's okay to have a spine.
No, exactly. He has one person in his life, and that's his mom, and she's a shitty mom even before we find out just how shitty she used to be.
Yeah, but of course she's ultra shitty.
Yeah, exactly. She gets worse, but that's like the narrative, the dramatic tension that builds. But he's had to defend himself like from father figures, from the boyfriends, but talking about his mother, her delusions and the whole implication coming along with that at least that part of Arthur's illnesses is inherited. That's all connected to horrible behavior and abuse, and then the rest of Arthur's illnesses, like the pseudobulbar affect, the laughing fits, that can be attributed to that trauma caused by his childhood abuse.
Yeah, I thought they didn't focus on that at all, but they definitely left it out there. I think again they didn't want to be diagnosable, but they definitely left you that if you wanted to talk.
Yeah,
about it.
there's like enough of an origin there if you want to connect those dots.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the consequence is that it implies that people with mental illnesses are both victims of society and abuse and everything, but also that taking away their care leads to these violent incidents, which you can like interpret it as a complaint against the negligence in the healthcare, but I can't help but
that was
also
one of my big takeaways. My
I
takeaways
remember
from the movie
that.
Were one, this is
Be
what happens
fucking
when you
nice.
have a shitty healthcare system that doesn't give a fuck about people.
Yeah.
And two, be fucking nicer, especially to the weird people, because it's like, not only is it the right thing to do, like a little bit goes a long way, and you know when someone's at their worst, they need it more than ever.
No, true. But I think you're being a good person. No, I think it's a more optimistic reading, and I might be a cynic here now, but like I also feel like it adds to the narrative that pops up every time there's a mass shooting. Like, mentally ill people are the scapegoat for gun violence, while most of the dangerous men committing horrific acts are usually ideologically motivated by hate speech and, you know, unlike Arthur.
I mean, traditionally in our country, when there's a shooting, it goes down, the two paths of scapegoatism are gun rights and mental health. And it's a mixture of whichever news outlet you're looking at, but you're probably going to get a mixture of those two talking points when we have
it's one or the other. He was just insane, or, well, we should probably do something about guns. But he just goes after people who have like wronged him in some way, but he also explicitly distances himself from those people adopting his appearance. And that could be like commentary on the real world impact of the character, of people, like of what the movie is being accused of inciting, that it really hasn't incited yet to this point, and probably won't.
No, I think it's going to be a news cycle. But
exactly, it's just like it's like they really want this shit to happen. They're like hyping it up, like, please someone do something, because we've been like saying it will happen. So someone grab a gun, please.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but because there's been so many violent movies, so many movies considering even this subject matter. It's there's like just picking this one out of the pile and going, oh, this one's dangerous. All the others, somehow not as much. Yeah, that's all quite right.
Yeah, no, there are far worse examples of fictional examples to draw from than what we saw here. Like, if anything, this one here gives you some reason to empathize with an antagonist for once. Like, he's I don't even want to use the term anti-hero. He's just an antagonist. No. Like, this is just a movie from the other angle. That's almost all the movie accomplishes. But
it is. But he's also
does a really good job of giving you
a different villain. He's not the usual actually evil villain.
There's no mustache twirling. He specifically, like, he might as well have said that in the last speech on Richard Murray. That he's not a mustache twirling, like, he's not a dog chasing cars. It's none of that stuff.
Exactly. He's not even the kind of evil that Joker usually is without being mustache twirly. It's just, he's hamming it up. Like, normally Joker can ham it up without being one dimensional because that's his thing. And it has a certain charm. But this is just, yeah.
I feel like by the end, where he's killed the innocent psychiatrist who hasn't done anything to him, I think by the end he actually is a villain. I think he's leaned into that, like, well, society made me this, or think that I'm this way, so I might as well be this way, and I'm gonna, glean joy from that.
He gets there. definitely. And I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if it's because of the events of the movie or if the events of the movie never fucking happened and that was one of his first kills. I do have like what happened in this movie is hard to do, but I think he still gets there.
Yeah, no, I do have a proposal of sorts of like a reading of that last scene. Firstly, at first I didn't quite immediately assume like, oh, he killed the psychiatrist without fucking anything in the room really to do it with. Well, otherwise you're a pretty shitty mental institution, but I wondered if it's possible to like place that final scene before all the events of the movie. At the time when he was previously in a clinic, we see him like smashing his head once, like in a flashback. Yeah. If that's then, before he was let out again and had to get his meds through the social services, about which I have to say, like, your healthcare system is a fucking mystery to me, because
us too.
Like I can't even imagine a scenario in which I am denied medication because one thing closes down. That's just not. Okay. Anyway, there's like, I mean, there's the option
when it comes down to a like a free social service like he was getting. Yeah, you can just straight up get put on the street on some of this kind of thing. Like when you're buying into the healthcare system as it is in America, when you're purchasing from one of the companies that has health insurance, you have a system of providers, and like if one of your doctors just suddenly went down, like I literally had a doctor in my past who was arrested. I could have just gone to another fucking doctor. At the time, I decided I didn't want to take any more medication. That happened just previous, and it's a long story. But
of course,
that guy died broke and alone and in prison, and I'm pretty happy with that. Again, long story. But
I can't imagine now.
Now I kind of want to know it. What is...
One day we'll get there. Yeah, but I just looked at the newspaper one day. I was like, oh, that's my fucking doctor. He's gone. It's over. He's out of the game. And because it's a network, I could have just gone to somebody else and explained what my situation was. They could have looked up a record, or I could have started from scratch, whatever. But I could have gotten access to medication.
Yeah, that seems more reasonable somehow.
When you're on, like, when you're not in the, like, that we have Medicare, Medicaid, and then we have private. Any one of those things has a network. If you're actually on, and they definitely portray this as the flex don't have a lot of money. He's definitely using public programs that. Yeah, no, it's the 80s, so I doubt. But that is real. Like when some of those programs go away, you just don't have access.
It's it's interesting not having universal healthcare. It's a thing. Yeah. I mean, and it's not even universal as in free as in some countries, but like over here, it's still like you gotta have it. There's just, it's not wise not to, so why wouldn't you like make it obligatory? But yeah, having said that, I went on a tangent there. I was saying, like, he could have just died as a result of the car crash, and imagine standing up for his final applause in his dying moments on the hood of that car, and that would have been it, you know, and then his death made more sense than his life, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, he pulled off that dramatic sentence, but
yeah, and like the about the clinic, we know literally nothing because he's been locked up once before, apparently for, well, who is to say? And that is just extremely vague. Have you thought about why you were in there? I mean, okay, I think we should all know, but nope.
Now, Tim of the Suicide Squad cast, I haven't listened to their review, but he posted on Twitter that he was watching the movie again and noticed that it was like 11:12 on the clock while he was in that session with his social worker. Mm-hmm. And then when it cuts to the asylum and he's hitting his head against the window in the door, it's the same time on the clock.
Ooh, that's interesting. I'm not sure what it means yet, but that's interesting.
Well, I brought up before that I think it's entirely possible that, like, if healthcare was treated correctly, when this guy says, I have nothing but negative thoughts, they should have worked into that deeper. He maybe possibly should have gone to visit some professionals for a few days, just for an overnight stay, like a 48, 72-hour thing. See how things were going.
Yeah, as soon as someone says that, especially it's like, well, you're dealing with someone who's pretty clearly suicidal. Let's look into that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've got one of my best friends spent some time in a hospital, you know, because he was having a bit of a breakdown and mentioned that he had suicidal thoughts. Well, that's a 48-hour mandatory lockdown. I mean, he spent the weekend in the hospital because they want to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself. And if you're in the vicinity of a healthcare, it's not all the time, but if you're in the vicinity of a healthcare situation and you mention that you have suicidal ideations or that you're thinking about, or if at any point someone pulls the trigger on like, I think this guy's thinking about killing himself, they can just put your ass on lockdown for a minute. And it's my first thought was after that conversation with the social worker, maybe someone put his ass on lockdown for a damn minute and said, we need to have a closer look at this guy. Let's have him sit in one of our rooms for a second. And that maybe the entire movie took place in his head while he was in one of those rooms.
Yeah, it's hard to like pinpoint a point midway through like that where it would just all stop being real. Because I feel like that's also a bit of a cop-out if you like cut out a lot of the events. Because like, yeah, everything could have been in his head, but then he was also imagining things within his imagining things. And, you know...
Oh yeah, the fact that he would, if he was imagining it, the fact that he fakes himself out.
Yeah, like, oh wait, no, I was just imagining this relationship with Sophie from next door, but now I am going to go mad because of that, but that's also my fantasy. I think that works less just from a motivation standpoint of like the character.
It could, but if he had enough issues, and we're talking about somebody on 7 medications, which, I mean, for any mental health issue,
I'm
7 is
familiar
a
with
lot.
having multiple layers of thoughts, but like, still, that's impressive.
It would be a feat, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is the Joker we're talking about. And in several iterations of the character throughout the comics, I'm actually looking at a big paperback book that I have called Batman Masterpieces. It was a line of paintings that were created, I think, for a trading card line, and they wound up putting it in a book because there was an ongoing story. And a lot of it was just an excuse to get a lot of different interpretations of Joker and Batman fighting. But it's really kind of neat because they tell it through the viewpoint of the Joker, recalling throwdowns he's had with Batman. And sometimes they're in like the Middle Ages. Sometimes they're, fighting on a pirate ship, and like their costumes change to match the era. And it kind of fits in with the whole like multiple choice past of the Joker. Like, I don't know, there's something to be said about, this idea that the Joker just is so crazy that he sees things, he imagines things within imaginings.
Yeah, the super sanity thing I quite like, of him not being so much insane, but like too sane. That always appealed to me.
I feel like that was a Grant Morrison insight, or if not, it feels very Grant Morrison-y in general.
Yeah, it sounds like him.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
I do feel like in that final scene, there's like one thing that bothers me most, and that's the joke, sort of, but like the shot of Bruce put in between that line that his psychiatrist wouldn't get it. It feels like a meta joke about creating the Bat, but then the rest of the movie is so unconcerned with like sticking to any comic book lore that like the way he's being shot might as well have been a fantasy too. Like I could see that, but
they kind of pulled one on me there, where they swore they weren't going to lean into any of the normal Gotham lore, and then they kind of did.
Yeah,
and I had bought the press. I had bought Todd Phillips kind of his talking points before that they weren't going to do that, and when they actually did, I kind of thought, well, it's a neat backstory. I mean, I would totally watch this version of Batman come up, but
it's cool. But at the same time, it also extra like admits that this version of Joker isn't the Joker, because he would just be quite an old man by that time. Like he would fall apart long before then. Judging from how he's doing.
It's only about 10 years we're talking about, though, when you think about it, because, I mean, that kid's probably 13 or 14, and by a lot of counts,
optimistic, sure.
Bruce got started around, like, 22.
That's
fair. As actually, in year one continuity, 22, 23.
And I would argue that the film is ambiguous at best about how old Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is.
That is fair. He could just look battered.
They make him sound like he's in late 20s.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Effie?
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was saying, like, he could just look battered because, well, he is battered by everyone in society, so...
Speaking of which, somewhere during the movie, somewhere around, I don't know, I think the second beating, when he was getting his ass beat on the subway, somewhere... if Joker has a superpower, it's probably getting his ass beat and dealing with it.
Yeah, he has experience with that, doesn't he?
I mean, dude can take a fucking beating.
I mean, he does from Batman on a regular basis.
On the reg, and he's fine.
There's no reason for being so good at that, but he is indeed very, very good at it.
I think there's like a hint of, I think they call it analgesia, but I think there's a hint with him that he doesn't necessarily feel pain to the extent that the rest of us do. Like
in this
get the
movie,
feeling,
of like or in comic book lore, or where?
well, in comic book lore in general, but every time I've seen Joker portrayed, and it seems like a live action thing. Like think back to the Heath Ledger, the interrogation scene with him and Batman.
I was already there, yeah.
Yeah, and then this scene where he's just kicked in the kidneys over and over fucking again. Like the dude was peeing blood for sure. It somewhere during this movie.
I love like the opening shot where you can just see the flower dripping fluid. Like that was a lovely touch in the title shot. Like,
oh yeah, that was nice.
Here's the thing: Joaquin Phoenix is only 44 years old.
I don't know why he seems older.
Yeah,
So if you do
he looked bad in
54?
this one.
55?
I mean, I guess because the thing with River was like we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, Effie, I'm not even sure you were born at the time. That's been a damn minute.
Probably not.
Like,
Anything before 96, like you can't blame me.
No. I mean, this was definitely in the late 80s. The thing with Rivers Phoenix being, overdosing in a bathroom.
Oh no, missed that.
Yeah, that was one of those. Like, you might see it somewhere if you've seen like a documentary on the Brat Pack, or if you've heard of the Brat Pack at all. It's
River Phoenix, right?
River Phoenix,
Effie?
I've heard of. Yeah, that's my mom's. Like she's mentioned him.
Okay.
Well, I know you watched Stand By Me.
Yeah, exactly. We've talked about.
He was
him
the
in
main
that
kid.
One. Which one was the main kid?
Not Will Wheaton.
It was an ensemble film.
Not Will Wheaton. Not the kid who was writing
Not
the
Wesley
story.
Crusher.
But the kid who was kind of a bad egg that everyone misjudged, who wound up getting killed, saving somebody.
I remember this solely because my mom talked about him a bunch. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
That's
in
Joaquin's real life brother.
Yeah.
I found this on the web.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, Google just heard something.
right.
Hi Google.
He also in real life, unfortunately, overdosed in a bathroom somewhere on a main strip in L.A. And if I recall, was found by Johnny Depp.
Well, that's one
I think
hell of
that's
a
the
start
lore
of a
I've heard, at
career.
least.
I wouldn't doubt it. So Google, for whatever reason, heard me say. Apparently, it thought I summoned it. And
I don't like the word summoned. And
yeah,
Google.
no, I
appear to me.
specifically
Feels very
chose
ominous.
summoned. I specifically chose summoned. It looked up kind of a bad egg that everyone does. Judge who wound up getting killed, saving somebody. All right, like the first thing that pops up is Bill Hicks.
oh fuck,
In
that's
this
awesome.
search. Jason loves Bill Hicks.
That makes me so happy. Yeah, he's my favorite.
I'm
Another
just
one.
confused.
Another one gone before his time. He died he died in 94, I think.
Wasn't there for that either. Damn it.
Nope.
All these deaths I missed. So many people died before I was born. Jeez.
I mean, like all of them.
Probably. Yeah, like
Comparatively.
more quite a bit more than after me probably, but like
Yeah. I mean, probably a couple trillion overall. I don't know. In the high billions.
Absolutely. Oof. Jeez, mortality.
Life
Always
is
good
short.
to confront that. Oh.
That's fun.
I mean, I've been having
speaking
a
of which-
cold, so I've been confronting my mortality over the past weeks.
I understand completely. Mortality, and speaking of mortality in general, that I'm only half joking about this. The movie didn't have I didn't have any effect going away from the movie where I had any I don't know, I had no homicidal or suicidal instincts leaving the movie whatsoever, except that I really fucking wanted a cigarette.
Oh my god, yes.
I did too.
There is
oh my
so
God.
much smoking in this movie. Like
There's
I,
a ton, and he makes it look great.
I'm not sure I can like get on board with the no suicidal tendencies after this movie, but like the cigarette thing, that's just oof, that's human. And
Well, I
he does
had a
make
friend,
it look good.
who used
Like
to
I don't know
call
how he doesn't
smoking
cough
like
more.
Oh no, he was a smooth one. Yeah, he's a very smooth smoker. Like that guy's got a pack a day habit, and he's just all the phlegm's like kept in check by the regular cigarette. I know that style.
Yeah.
I've done that. But I did have a friend who called smoking an installment plan on suicide. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, you won't get too old. You'll just live quite long enough to have experienced most of it, and then, you kind of fizzle out.
Probably check out gasping for air, Like
Yeah,
some of
but
us
you've
do.
been doing that for years, so you've had practice.
Yeah. I mean, I genuinely, like, maybe once a year, and I've been a smoker a couple times in my life, and maybe once a year I have, for some reason, just out of nowhere, some instinct, like, man, I would really like a cigarette. And, it's normally not instigated by anything, but this movie, I was like, man, that fucking looks so relaxing. That looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been because the movie itself made me very uncomfortable, which I applaud the movie for. That was an achievement that I'm impressed with. But
Like it does make you feel like, oh my god, I need to sit down and like smoke, just something, just inject something into my veins. I don't know.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's definitely like, I'm not sure. It's a movie that, like, I'm not sure if you should have a couple drinks before you see it, or if you should not have a couple drinks before you see it.
I haven't
it's hard to
tested
say.
this. I'm not sure. I've been twice, but I haven't tried like doing any substance abuse before. So like I can't speak on this subject. No.
I don't know. I mean, after seeing it twice, like, it's a very it's a deep movie, and it's going to have a lot of impact. And like you said, it impacted you. Like, on the one hand, I kind of think, good job, film. You're a piece of art. That's your job.
Yeah, and I think it just helps to be like prepared. Like the second time was a lot less bad, just because I wasn't like shocked by everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wasn't shocked by every twist, because like I saw coming that, like, as soon as Sophie came to the door and was like, "Were you following me?" And being okay with that somehow, I was like, yeah, this is what the scene fantasizing about being on the Murray Franklin show, like, that's what that set up. This is gonna be fake, all of it. And it was, so, good job me. But,
Well, in retrospect, and I made it all, like I said before, I made it all the way to the hospital scene before I was like, oh, that's bullshit. No, there's no way.
yeah, it's like really sweet, but like, no, it's just what he needs and can't get.
It really was like, there's a lot of evidence that whole chunks of the movie, even the better part of the movie, maybe didn't actually happen. But when you look at the subparts, like the two major delusions are the Sophie next door and the little stint on the Richard Murray show when he's called out by De Niro to
yeah,
come up
those
to
ones
stage and
are
everything.
like obvious. Those are declared. Like, okay, this is what the fake ones look like.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple where you could say, like, when he's being applauded by a mob, it's like, yeah, but is that not just him wanting to be finally recognized as a person, basically, being heralded as whatever?
It seems like the most normal-ish scenes in the movie for him. Like, when he seems like the most well-adjusted version of himself, they rip that rug right out from under you. Mm-hmm. Every time it seems like especially when he's talking to her in the doorway and he actually makes a joke, and it's actually a decent joke.
Yeah, exactly. And I just
like, he has a little bit of swagger, a little bit of confidence for a fucking second. Yeah, they just rip that out from under you.
Exactly. Because
same way on
all
Richard Murray, when he gets there and he gets validation from a father figure that he didn't have before. Again, rip that out. Done. Sorry.
None of that shit. And he's not normal in that scene, because it like gradually gets weirder and faker.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't expect him to be this socially inept. Like, he would be a terrible psychopath, because he can't manipulate shit. Like, he has no way out of any situation with any other human being. He just has this sort of rage that comes out after he loses the caring nature that's sort of in the beginning.
Yeah. He's not the kind of mechanistic Heath Ledger Joker that was able to plant thousands of pounds of explosives on a place before he set about a complicated, philosophically adept plan of a
little bit of social commentary in there. Like, I've always said, like, if the Dark Knight had been written by me or really any Dutch author, we're too cynical. But like, in Hollywood, none of the ships blow up. In a Dutch version, like, literature, that the people would have blown up the prisoners. That's how it would have gone. That's always been my stance. Like, that's real. Sorry. Yep.
No, I think the most realistic version is he fucks up planting the explosives and blows both ships up and goes, oh, well,
Nah, that's fine. Yeah, that works.
Well, that kind of blew a hole in my whole rant I was going to go on, but, hey, well, we got something done.
Well, that doesn't test well, though. That doesn't test well with American audiences.
Yeah, no, that's the problem, really. The general audience, as usual. Because
no, it is and it isn't the problem. Because, some of this is supposed to be an escape for people. But more or less, as far as I could tell, most creatives are dark, cynical pieces of shit like me.
I don't know. I'd hope so. Otherwise, I really won't be able to.
It's not all Ernest Hemingway. I mean, they're happy creatives, theoretically.
Well,
there's some optimists in there.
Yeah, until you get about 10 years down the line and Jim Carrey's like, by the way, I'm terribly depressed. And you're like, oh.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Or like if you've been listening to like the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, he's been very open recently about how he's recently gone to therapy, he's recently embraced medication, because for a long time he was living under the, I would say, delusion that comics have to have pain to be funny. That's not true. Like, you just have to be funny to be funny.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like pain, you can use pain and subvert that into funny, but
there's a lot of writers who like believe you have to be unhappy to like make art, make it great, suffer. There's a lot of that narrative going around, and it's just work, man. It's hard enough as it is without being really, really unhappy.
Yeah. Or you can go like a Hunter S. Thompson route and just be super fucked up the whole time.
Yeah, some people make it work.
I think I was a better writer when I was, very, very depressed and unmedicated.
Possibly.
I mean, you probably still like could write that well. It's just like you have a life, and you have to do different things, and you don't come up with as sick of like stories. It's just different. But like stylistically, you should still be capable of the same quality.
I think some of it for me is the outrage culture. I'm too afraid to write anything now because I know I'm just sick in the head in some ways.
Yeah, but like there are still like ways. I remember getting a comment on my bachelor's thesis, which was about representation of transgender women on screen. And there was like a sort of a comment from the second reader who was like, yeah, but what kind of horror stories are possible without being problematic? And I was like, fuck you, you just don't do it about this specific group in this specific way that I just described in like 10,000 words. And I was like, there's a way to just be not problematic about it. There are real dangers in the world that you can portray without going to, well, for instance, mentally ill people. There are all those radicalized, actually like hateful, racist, homophobic, misogynistic, whatever, usually all of the above, men out there shooting people randomly. Like you could make a horror movie out of one of those types, but those MRA incel types that we were like afraid this Joker would sort of portray or represent or connect with, at least, it's quite the opposite. He's like connected with a movement that's far more leftist, far more bottom-up, anti-rich, anti-capitalist, and that was a weird choice to me, because it's like it's not as prominent in the statistics of violence like in reality, because we have an epidemic of like white nationalist gun violence, but then like the Marxist terrorists, is that a thing now? It's like it's not.
Everything's a thing.
I mean, yeah, to some extent, but not. I mean, not the same. Yeah, like there's only about one shooting I can remember that was like a super liberal shooting, and it was literally just a guy shot some Republican congressman playing baseball.
Okay,
and I'm sure there's plenty more.
Everything happens,
for instance, could be seen as super liberal in a certain way, but it is quite different, especially with shootings. It often does go one way to me. Again, open-ended stats anyone has to me, but I think that's how that actually plays out. But yeah, like I was curious about that choice within the film that it was a very, I called it before in the previous review, it was a very proletariat argument that he was making, or at least that the movement around him developed into a proletariat argument.
Yeah, exactly.
And the weird part to me was, on top of that, it happened out of shooting 3 fucking Wall Street guys. I say Wall Street guys. I think they worked for Thomas Wayne and they did something. I think they were in Wall Street. But anyway,
who knows if
they were in
Gotham has a
stocks
Wall Street
to some extent. Yeah. Clearly,
There's
men can
walls,
rob it.
there's streets. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a weird angle to take where the the catalyst was the death of three up and coming, kind of upper middle class at least, three dudes who were just part of the overall machine of wealth, like the Thomas Wayne interpretation of wealth, and then their shooting somehow puts a death to the rich thing going on. Like,
yeah, but I think that was mostly explained by Thomas Wayne's comments of like everyone who doesn't achieve anything in their life, well, they're just a bunch of clowns and it's their fault, Like you gotta have success and that's something you deserve. Like that sort of attitude.
And all that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that TV interview was more so the reason for people to go, well, okay, fuck you too. They kind of deserve this. Like what? 3 less, a million more to go. But
I think the movie was also making a pretty strong case about the media making celebrities out of these killers, because I mean, if there are studies out there that show that like more than violent video games, more than movies, the media putting these people on television, like
it aggrandizes.
Absolutely,
yeah,
like
12 hours
this
after
was his name,
killed a bunch of people.
Exactly, and now they have their face
and
on
they
television
do the
and they're
pull-out
famous,
screen.
and you want that too.
Yeah, after the great point to that statement is like when they do the pullout after he shoots Richard Murray, he has a little bit of time alone with the camera. He puts the gun down, he goes, and he literally just kind of plays with the camera. And you see parts of what happened afterward, like you see him get tackled afterward, but it pulls out to like this kind of Watchmen style 1625 whatever screens it is, and it's everyone immediately covering it. Like they cut in the movie, they cut that screen as like not as soon as they could, but pretty quickly. They realize, oh, we're gonna have to cut this shit. And there is a time delay. Like it's not like in production. There's it used to be like when we were growing up, it was an 8-second delay. It was probably more before. I think it's less now. But you had a few seconds to cut something or bleep something. So there's a little bit of delay, and they cut it, and then they pull back out, and you see all the other media outlets, and they immediately start covering it and showing it and showing it and showing it and showing it, like re-showing it, showing more footage than you saw before. All that.
No, that's true.
That very much speaks to the point. Like recently, New Zealand did something amazing. Last time, like when they had the tragedy at that mosque, it was fucking. I still don't know what that guy's fucking name was because they didn't release it.
No, they were just like it's some guy. This is why, and fuck him, and let's not.
It was
go
literally
into
some
his
asshole
life and
did some
his
fucked
brother
up shit, and
why
it was a tragedy, and then.
Yeah, exactly. Usually you get like the whole story of like, oh, he was such a nice boy, and then this happened, and oh, he played a bunch of games, and there's usually that narrative, like humanizing the white guy who shot up a mosque, and that's
there's
what
literally
we're used
there's no
to.
name.
That's so
like,
good.
That was a really like I really hope it's a thing that maybe more people take under their wings. Is like that's just not the more you talk about them, the more you make it a thing. Kind of like I said before, like the Mark David Chapman killing John Lennon because you had the world on a string kind of thing. Like there is a type of thought that I don't know where it comes from. I don't know who's capable of it. I don't want to say it's applicable to just a certain kind of person or that anyone's necessarily safe from it. But there's a type of thought that can sneak into somebody's head through whatever mechanism it is that at some point they think, you know what, if I just take that guy out, I can take his place. And it feels primal. Like it feels primal in a way that in the way that like if you're an up and coming lion, you may try to kill the guy in charge of the pride and take his place, like that kind of thing. I think there's some part of us that still got that like vestigial primal kill and replace instinct that maybe sneaks in. I'm not sure if that's where it comes from at all, but that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, no, there's some of that left, but it's then again it's you have the narrative that okay, the media is like spreading Joker like a disease and like inspiring all these people, but I still find it such an odd choice to like attempt to discredit a left-wing movement rather than the people we in actuality feared that would make Joker their hero. Because we know, like, many of those types love to completely miss the point of Fight Club and, like, adopt the toxic masculinity because that's cool. Mm-hmm. But, there's so... Yeah. I
get it. In a way, though, and for some reason this occurred to me as you were talking about it, but in a way, it does seem like a left movement, but, I mean, I work in a pretty right-wing industry, and one thing I've noticed that there is a common thread of is really nobody likes the rich.
Yeah, no, that's like fair.
Yeah,
that's honestly
fair.
Like Trump also ran on a platform
different angles and for different reasons and with different proposed fixes. We all kind of think they're fucking us over.
And then they do when you vote for people who want to drain the swamp and never do. But, that's
I would agree, but,
that's sort of happened. And then the people are finding out, like they noticed. But it's...
Again, my take on it too, but to each their own.
Yeah, and I feel like the film is like effective in the sense that you don't want to be Joker, like stating that only a person this pathetic would feel empowered by the Joker persona could like deter the crowd from idolizing this iteration of the character. But it does still like stigmatize mentally ill people in a way that I'm not entirely comfortable with. Because it's intentionally making you uncomfortable. But if you go back to like the Joker in general, always playing on timely horror tropes, current affairs, current fears, we have to then wonder why the makers then expect mental illness to be the scary thing. Why is that like the unpredictability? Oh, it's both defending and humanizing him and like detracting from the humanity of mental illness. There's something there that I just still feel like, ooh, well, you're still kind of portraying me as if I could like burst at any moment and kill a bunch of people. And I mean, I'm trying pretty hard not to. So it feels kind of, like you're not really appreciating my effort here.
It's a daily goal, and I pull it off every fucking day.
Exactly. Up until now, it's been working pretty fine.
Yeah. I get that though. Like it to some extent, the fact that you can't label him a protagonist in this film does mean that they vilify it. They vilify the portrayal. They vilify mental illness as part of like the movie's makeup. I get that.
Yeah, you go into it expecting this guy's going to be the villain because that's kind of what the movie's called.
Right. But I mean, when in the history of fiction in general, like you can argue that you can villainize about anything if you're clever enough. And this movie does a really good job of like, it does make you uncomfortable. And if your takeaway from being uncomfortable is, well, I need to avoid that kind of person and they're weirdos, I just think that talks about how you are as a person. If your
That's fair. I just have very little faith in people. That could be it.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get that entirely. Because
I don't see this movie having much faith in people either.
No,
yeah, no, not. Exactly.
And I do think there's going to be a lot of people that walk away. Like I think there was saw 2 people in our theater. We only had it was an early showing and a rare showing, so we only had about 20 people in our theater, and I think I saw 2 of them try to walk out toward the end of the movie. They just kind of had enough of it, and one of them was like a 15-year-old kid, and I was like, "You're not supposed to be here. I'm not sure you're ready for this."
Yeah. No, it's a hard 16 here too. Like you don't get in the theater that young, but
looking at the way the movie sort of treats him as a protagonist and someone to feel sorry for, and as an antagonist, I feel like the point of the movie is we're all missing the point. Like society misses the point. I think in this movie, like they think he's making some political statement, and he says, "I'm not making a political statement."
Yeah.
Like it's not about rich versus poor because the poor treated him just as terribly as the rich people did. I think the point of the movie was there's all these like red flags, all of these red herrings, all this stuff to distract everybody. Just like, how we're going, oh, what's real in this movie? Well,
who fucking cares?
A few years ago, some people were asking when Ash vs. Evil Dead came out, fans kept asking Sam Raimi and company, did Army of Darkness happen? Because they hadn't made any specific references to it. And the producers, very quickly came out and said, look, everything that you've seen him, every time you've seen Bruce Campbell portray Ash, all of that happened. At least in his head. So, everything you have seen has informed the formation of this character. That doesn't necessarily mean it actually took place in the canon, but, the guy's being driven mad by demons. And I would argue the same thing for Joaquin's Joker. I feel like everything in this movie, it may not have. I mean, that's a lot of little distractions to chew over. But all of those things happened. All of those things informed the person he is at the end of that movie. The person walking out with blood on his shoes,
which could also still be in his head.
Which
Yeah,
also
like,
could still be in his
The
head.
first time I saw
But,
that, I
like-
was just like, this is symbolism. This looks cool. It's a good shot,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And he has blood
was a
on
good
his
shot.
hands, you know? So it's, you know, that could mean something. But I didn't immediately connect it to, like, he had just made a bloodbath out of this. Like, I feel, same thing with Sophie Dumont when he finally, like, breaks into her apartment and scares the living shit out of her. I didn't immediately assume he'd then killed her. I feel like, well, he would have lived through that. Like, we might have seen that. I could see him leaving that apartment heartbroken just as easily, because then we go into the scene where he's just crying on the couch and smoking, of course, and the neighbor yelling, "Please shut the fuck up." And, well, he didn't say please. But I feel like that could have just gone the way it's visually, like, shown to us without, like, it's left open, of course, but I feel like both options are still on the table.
I wouldn't have thought that he had killed her except for the ambulance.
Yeah, and I
ambulance,
missed that.
but
You mentioned that in your review, and I was like, fuck, where was it? And who called it? But, like, yeah.
There was, I mean, there were red lights, but again, we're talking about a Gotham where it's
Yeah.
so distraught that could have been a red herring, as you put it.
It could have been, but based on the placement of it, I would, and the way he was laughing, I think he may have, in a fit of rage, killed her because he believed that she was with him, and then now suddenly, because whether it happened or not, his relationship, that's got to come as a shock to show up and be like, "Hey, I need you," and she's like, "Who are you? Get out of my apartment."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's messed up. So, you know, I think, like,
One of the things
I mean, it broke
struck me,
me,
though,
but
was
in
like,
what
it's
way
really
is-
unrealistic she's got her fucking door unlocked in that neighborhood.
Yeah, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah, I don't
He
know. She's got a
didn't
kid there,
need
she's got a
key.
fucking door.
Like,
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah, that part
so
was
did
weird.
that even happen?
Exactly.
Sort of like American Psycho. Did he kill all those people?
Well,
Exactly.
no.
No,
Feed me a
another
stray
thing-
cat, says the ATM.
There was a thing that I think it was at least a theme of the movie that plays into what we're talking about. I think there is a statement that there are a lot of statements you can maybe take from this, but one of the ones I want to put on the table at least is I think there's something the film's trying to say about when we don't have an investment in public services in general, when we don't take time to do the nuts and bolts of holding an infrastructure of a society together. You can have like social programs that are dealing with mental illness shut down. You can have living tenements essentially that are just like as Penny Fleck put it, like the conditions we're living in and so.
Yeah,
You can have
falling
garbage
apart.
filling the fucking streets. You can have an ambulance who shows up, and it could be so regular that we're not sure if that had to do with the thing that was down the street or not, or it was down
Yeah.
another apartment down the. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't fucking know. There's ambulances all the time. We don't know. And then there's also like when you look at if everything in the movie actually transpired, the only way to justify it is to also say that the police must have been so fucking strung out on resources that they couldn't put together a few simple things about how he actually pulled all this off. Like he kills an outrageous amount of people in a very short period of time. And
Yeah, like,
Would
gets
also
away with
work
it.
for Gotham. That would also work for Gotham, though.
Yeah, but no, an overstressed, under-functioning Gotham is my fucking Gotham. That's what I'm looking for. Like the only thing that, the only thing that supersedes it is Bloodhaven.
Let me ask you this. This is just random, but how much did you want those two detectives to be, Gordon and Bullock?
I did. I kept looking for at least one of them to get name checked, and I never got anything.
Well, they introduced themselves, and it wasn't Harvey, and it wasn't Jim.
They were
Yeah, I
just
was hoping.
such random names, and then you forgot, and you were like, that's a missed opportunity.
The only thing, the one guy I had no recognition of whatsoever. The other guy I kept thinking, like, where have I seen him? Peggy Carter.
Yeah,
Yeah, now that you
I'm
mention
pretty
it,
sure
yeah.
he was in charge of her branch.
I think so.
He had a role. I've seen his face too, but
I think
I
they,
clearly
like when
don't
they did the
remember
one
that
shot,
part.
I think it was Bradley Whitford, and then they replaced him with him.
I think that was a different department, but that so far doesn't line up with anything we've ever seen. That one shot doesn't line up with anything we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's probably true.
yeah, no, their continuity is a mess too. But that's just Marvel, so they get a pass.
Is it really a mess, or is it just that one thing?
It's
I don't remember anything
No. It's just like there's some mistakes in main continuity, like the timeline not lining up in Homecoming. But like making
yeah,
all the
remember that.
Marvel television that was connected but now isn't connected and never was connected really. You know, those kinds of things we wouldn't get away with without getting shit for it, you know?
I
still
you know,
that.
I have not seen the latest season of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they did literally time travel the season before. So everything after that, and I think that's where it breaks off.
Yeah, you can make an argument that they've been bouncing around in their own problems and haven't really like. All right,
it makes sense
time
from a
about a
business
season
time.
ago where it was present. They were talking about the events happening in New York and so, and then after that, they get into time travel. They get into a whole space thing. It's I don't know.
They're pretty clearly an alternate reality.
Yeah.
But
They're pretty clearly an alternate reality at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
I mean,
not
if
sure
time
that's
travel
true
had
either, but-
already been invented, they could have just really given the Avengers a call, like, maybe we could fix this shit. But they had to figure that out on their own.
I don't know.
There's
Just
some...
because I'm in the same, reality as, I don't know, Elon Musk doesn't mean I can call him up and be like, hey, Elon, help me out, man.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah, but S.H.I.E.L.D. and Iron Man are pretty well connected. Like,
One of the things they did that was really like one of the things that I thought was like, okay, this is a good job. Is I watched Cloak and Dagger, which I really enjoy, but it's set in New Orleans. It has nothing to do with anybody that's fucking involved, except for that one woman from I'm blanking, either Punisher or Daredevil. I can't remember, but
you talking about Misty Knight? Wasn't she name checked or something from Luke Cage and Iron Fist or whatever?
maybe it was Iron Fist. Anyway, there's somebody from the Netflix universe that pops over, and suddenly she's in New York. Or, no, I'm sorry, New Orleans, and it's completely disconnected from everything. They have their own little events. It's a tiny enough universe that whatever they're doing makes sense for them, but it's not like end of the world shit. It was perfect.
Well, apparently they're about to do a crossover between Cloak and Dagger and Runaways.
yeah, I've heard
I had a
that.
feeling they were going to do that.
But, like, those are, like, more easy to connect. Like, way easier.
Oh yeah,
Well, that means all that stuff's in with the Netflix stuff.
yeah.
Until the MCU proper gives me a different Daredevil, Iron Fist, etc. I mean, I saw Ben Urich's coverage on the incident from the Avengers, so
Yeah, they covered the 2012 Avengers incident. Like, that's not
everybody can
debatable.
suck it. That shit's connected.
Yeah. But I call it like it's an anode connection. Like it's one way connected, the other way can go fuck itself. Movies to TV, TV to movies can go to hell.
A little
But
bit, yeah.
it'll be retconned, like, before long.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm. Come on now. Let's have a little bit of faith. Let's hope. Let's just fingers crossed.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, I have faith that
I
all the
want there
Disney
to
Plus
have
stuff
been a
will be
reason for me to
connected,
watch all
but
this stuff.
I
They can
think
do away with the
everything
Inhumans.
Sorry.
They did.
What were you saying?
Inhumans went right the hell away.
Oh, yeah. No, but I think
you remember
anything
when it was
Marvel
like-
Studios doesn't do themselves, it's...
I swear it was no more than 4 or 5 years ago. We were told the ongoing slate was going to be like a 2020 movie called Inhumans. That was on the slate at some point.
Yeah.
I would still be up for it. I just for so long we
They
called,
did it themselves, but they don't care about it, clearly. Or they would have done it.
that, and at this point, the only reason they were using the word Inhumans was because they couldn't use the word mutants.
Yeah.
And now they
to
have that
Fox
back.
owning it, so fuck it. They're all Inhumans can fuck themselves. It's over now.
Well, to be fair, that's pretty much what the readers have always said when they put out an Inhumans comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to do both on screen. That's way too many characters at once for, like, a team they don't really need.
You say that, but they're putting up the Eternals.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's true, but
And we would have said the same thing about Guardians of the Galaxy, in 2013.
The who now? Yeah. No, that's it's true. And I mean, eventually it'll come to pass, but they're going to give the X-Men like a priority treatment. That's
That almost
without
sounds
saying.
biblical. That sounds biblical, Effie. And
come
it
to
shall
pass.
come to pass. Verily, it shall come to pass.
yeah. Maybe I was born before
the
96.
lost
So it is written.
canon hidden deep in the Vatican, the Kevin Feige Gospels. It's next to a bust of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine that they didn't want to reveal until recently. Sculpted
Yeah.
by Michelangelo.
We could write an entire Da Vinci Code type trilogy about this.
Oh, you went
for
entirely different way. I was thinking they were going to do a crossover of Marvel and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
See, I imagine
That's an
Tom
option.
Hanks using like a spectrograph or something to like see the hidden layers underneath the Sistine Chapel, and it's really like Wolverine touching God's finger with a claw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I want the turtles, so it's just 4 turtles sitting around and eating pizza. But
That makes any movie better, really.
tell me Michelangelo hadn't brightened your day up whenever you saw him just chilling with a slice of pepperoni.
I mean, I don't know about brighten my day.
I've never seen that image in any capacity and not thought, that's pretty fun. Just moved on with my day and been like, that's a little serotonin I didn't have before. Good job.
I probably just want pizza at that point. That's usually how that goes.
Yeah.
Now I'm just sitting there looking at Michelangelo going, that poor bastard's going to get diabetes.
Oh, yeah.
Perspective.
Like, your pancreas is shot, Michelangelo.
Poor thing. Poor thing.
Poor bastard. Well, fuck. I don't know how much I have. I don't know how much I have else.
Yeah, no, I'm out of notes. We're at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at this point. I'm fair. We've
Not a
touched
bad
on
place to
Marvel.
stop.
Yeah, no, I mean it's the highlight of the episode, really. So like, stop when you're peaking. But
About to say, you got something against the Turtles, man?
I just finished the IDW crossover of Batman and Ninja Turtles.
still have to get
It was a
around to that.
3-part. Oh, it was so good. It was so much fun. They brought everybody on in. It was great.
You know, they released that animated movie, and they've also released action figures, and I want it all. There's an action figure of, like, I think it was one of the Turtles, maybe Donatello, I want to say, but one of the Turtles wearing Batman's mask. Like, and it's, like, stretched over his head, and, like, it looks great.
Oh, in the books, they did, like, multiverse versions of these characters where, like, there's a version of Michelangelo where he's running around in Damien's Robin costume. It's fucking cool.
Oh god,
Nice.
that's
Oh,
good.
it's so much fun. So much fun. And then they end up arguing later about who was a better Robin. It's great.
That
That's
sounds like
fantastic.
Damien. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, Damien, he does not like silver medals, man.
No,
That bastard.
no, he is not the type.
He's not the appreciative, at least I placed. No, go fuck yourself. I want to win.
I still love that bit from the book, from the comics, where Damien tells all of the former Robins, I'm going to take something of yours, and you're not going to know what it is, and you're not going to be able to stop me, just to prove that I'm better than you.
Yeah.
And there's that great bit where, like, I think it was like Red Hood talking to Batman. He's like, Damien tell you he took my helmet? And he's like, yep.
Oh,
Couldn't
god.
stop him, could you? Nope.
I like
Beat his
Damien.
ass
I'm
if I
one of
see
the-
him. Give it a shot.
I think
That
he's
little
grown
fucker held
on.
his ground with me, and he's 9.
I think Damien's grown on people, and I've always liked him. So
He has grown. Speaking of his vibe, at least, have you seen The Last Titans?
me, no.
Yeah, Deathstroke or the last
No.
couple
Oh,
of Titans.
I
where
have.
It's been like,
I haven't. Have I seen?
No.
Yeah, I've seen the latest one. Yep, I have.
so much
Am-
fun.
Oh, it's good.
I haven't been properly spoiled, but am I to assume that frickin' Garth Aqualad cannot catch a break in any current universe?
You are to assume.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh
that's
my
fair
gosh.
to say. You're a little
First,
more
that's
behind
not
than I
true.
thought,
Young
but
Justice.
In Young Justice, he couldn't become Aqualad. Like, he's, in the comics he was Aqualad, and what's his name? What is current Aquaman's name in Young Justice?
I don't remember. I'm trying to. I remember the guy who voiced
Yeah. Aqualad
I
is.
can't remember his actual name.
Oh fuck. Oh god, I haven't
know why I'm
watched in
blanking.
too long. That's my bad.
Oh well. Well, 3.
See,
stumped
we
people.
should have quit while we were ahead. Now we're like
Right.
just losing geek credit on not knowing the name of.
Oh no, this
Anyway.
is fun. Somebody's yelling at their iPhone right now.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. It makes them
Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's hope these idiots correct themselves next time.
Yeah.
Well, keep hoping,
Uh,
people.
What is it?
Just
Kari
right in.
Payton?
We'll correct. Yeah. We'll be like, yep,
Yeah.
sorry, and thank you, so and so.
So Kari Payton is Aqualad
Yeah.
instead of and I mean that's his real name. I can't remember his name for some reason
I can't remember
in
his
the
character
show. But yeah, he gets Aqualad's position instead of Garth, and now in Titans
Calder.
they've just
I was thinking of Calder.
Calder. Yes.
Calder. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it wasn't Garth for sure. Yeah,
No.
You're
I
right.
kept
Yeah,
bringing
Garth,
up-
Garth traditionally is fucked. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kept
I'm not
coming up
even
with
at the
Kanjar
point
Row,
where
and I
Garth
knew
is
that
involved.
wasn't right.
That is super not right.
I know it's super not right. That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah. Yeah, super not right. But the K was there. I get the syllables that were trying to draw your mind in the wrong direction.
Right.
But yeah,
Really,
like,
this is Young Justice Outsiders' fault because they barely had Calder in it.
I'm nowhere close to that, so I'm still catching up. I have like 3 animated shows I want to watch, and I never make time for either of them, like any of them. I can't count.
Oh yeah, my list keeps getting harder and harder to keep track of. The TV Time app it keeps track of like what you're watching right now, and then it says like haven't watched for a while.
Yeah, thanks. I know.
My haven't watched for a while package keeps getting longer and longer to scroll through.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what won't be on that haven't watched in a while list on mine is Rick and Morty, because as soon as that shit comes out in November,
I was thinking about that this morning. I was looking forward to it.
As soon as that comes out, I don't care what it is. DC shows, Marvel shows, everything's taking a back seat.
There could
Rick
be a
and Morty
show
is
called Dave, Please Watch This, airing on NBC to 8.5 million views, and you'd be like, well, I got to watch Rick and Morty. I'm sorry.
That's right. I've bought every line of the Funko figures. I love Rick and Morty.
damn.
That is
it's a great
happening.
show.
That is happening.
A lot.
I mean, I haven't bought the Funko Pops. I've bought a few of them, but like
Oh, okay.
I bought like 2 Funko Pops, and they were $1. There was a sale,
That's fair. That I can support.
and the others I got for like either a birthday thing or our listener Chris White sent me a couple.
Oh,
So
that's
Yeah.
that's better. Yeah, gifts are great.
they are great.
Yeah. Now I'm sad that it'll be a while before it's my birthday again.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's Christmas before that and everything, but still, gifts are good.
Yeah, they are fun.
Yeah, but you're getting the gifts, because another year has been taken.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's a way to
Are we
look at it,
confronting mortality again? Because I really
Yeah.
like.
I think that's what Dave was doing, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
wasn't-
receiving plastic in exchange for life.
Well, you
Yeah,
don't
but
have
it's
as
kinda
much
like a
time to
credit
enjoy
card.
it anymore, but here you go.
No, that's the point. It's kind of like a credit card with really good reward system. Like, yeah, I mean, you're exchanging life force for gifts and vinyls and plastics and whatnot, but you were going to spend it anyway, so why not get some reward points?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Like, you can't stop the crawl of time.
We figured out time and life and all the great questions of the universe. This is a pretty good episode.
I know.
I mean, even Einstein had one. He had several great insights. One of them was Brownian motion. The other one was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna time and the relativity thing." And then, honestly, like big drop off after that. Like even Einstein figured it out and then was deeply confused by the whole thing afterward. Like,
Yeah, and people are
his
still
productivity short of a couple of those. It took a fall. Oh yeah, he stopped to help create the bomb. But other than that,
Oh yeah, that was sort of important.
and that gets us back to Dr. Manhattan, and we're back to DC. Yay!
Oh, thank God. God,
We made
the
it.
Watchmen show. Oh,
Go team.
I'm very
Yeah.
curious what that thing is going to be.
Me too. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely.
I would have been excited. I've said it several times. I would have been excited just to know that Nine Inch Nails was involved. But on top of that, the actual show looks good.
Yeah, it's going to be a different thing, but I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna enjoy Doomsday Clock until then. So
Oh, after
I'm
then,
very
too.
happy
By
with
the
that.
time
Yeah,
you get the last
yeah,
issue of Doomsday Clock,
absolutely.
you've got-
That'll be a while. How many are we
I
now?
mean, really-
11. It's fucking
11
close by now. But
11 came out about 3 weeks ago. And
Yeah,
by the way,
I feel like
11
Still got a year.
phenomenal. Yeah. I don't think 12 was even slated until December.
No, probably not. So that
You may-
that sounds about
You may
right.
legitimately finish this season before you get to see the...
Oh God. Yeah, there's a chance, a good chance.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Would it be terrible if it wound up being like All-Star Batman and Robin type of thing?
Oh my God, I could not take that. I am still like
Or even
I want that one to be finished, but like if they leave me hanging here, that would be a slap in the face. Oh my God. No, that
or
that
even
would be
worse,
sad.
a Battle Chaser situation.
Hold on. y'all weren't reading the Batman Max crossover.
No. I'm behind on, like, main continuity
Yeah, no.
stuff.
That's
So-
not main continuity.
Oh no, it's an IDW. It's a.
Oh, sorry.
It's a different one.
Even better. No
But-
time for that.
It was one. All right, so the Batman Max thing, I saw it somewhere and went, well, fuck, I gotta try that. And I got the next couple of issues because they were already out. This was a year and a half ago almost. And then I got those issues, and then it kind of just fell off my list. I didn't remember it. You know, I got like 20 fucking things on my list every month that I forgot.
Yeah.
So I got the first 3 and thought, oh fuck. I mean, but seriously, a year and some change later, I was sitting there thinking like, wait a second, what happened to that series? I want to find out what happened. I got to try to find issue number 4. Can't be found. At some point, I started thinking that just it had gotten to a point where like even eBay didn't have a copy of it that I could buy.
Oh.
I went to a couple of stores. I found no purchase. There was no. It just wasn't out there. All I had was like a couple of them had an errant copy of number 3. I was like, oh fuck, what do I do? I look it up. Turns out Sam Keith just fucking fucked off on it for a year and some change. I mean, I'm sure there's something going on, and probably because I said he fucked off on it was probably like a family tragedy that I'll feel bad about later.
Most likely.
He definitely didn't find the deadline. That part we're sure about. He did not hit deadline. And then I was even told like, oh, it's going to come out September 30th or something like that. And I called my Polish shop and was like, hey, make sure you get this. I look up back the other day. I realized like a few weeks later, I realized, wait a second, I still haven't seen this thing. Let me see what's going on. It's backed up to December now. Like, it's almost like the publishers were like, what were we doing again? Oh, fuck, it's been a while since we put one of those out. Anybody have Sam's number?
All right, here's the ultimate horror story, okay?
Okay.
Back in the 90s, there was a guy, he's still around, but there was a guy named Joe Madureira, or Joe Mad, as he liked to sign. Mm-hmm. And he was a comic book artist, and he wound up doing this, branching off from X-Men and doing a thing called Battle Chasers. I will read this directly from Wikipedia for you, and you'll get the exact notion of how awful this is. Battle Chasers, an American fantasy comic book series by Joe Madureira, launched in April of 1998. It was one of the most popular American comic series in the late 90s, but suffered from extreme scheduling problems with an average of about 6 months between issues, including a delay of 16 months for issue number 7.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Madureira produced a total of 9 issues in 4 years, publishing 2 to 3 a year, a pace for which he was criticized. Originally published by Wildstorm under his Cliffhanger imprint, founded by Madureira with J. Scott Campbell and Humberto Ramos, the series moved to Image Comics in 2001. The last issue, number 9, was published in September of 2001 and had a cliffhanger ending that was never concluded, as number 10, scheduled for November 2001, was never released, and Joe Mad left the comic industry to pursue a career as a video game designer. Joe Mad has said he plans to release issue number 10, starting directly where issue number 9 ended, and 2 more issues as part of a 3-part story arc sometime after the release of Battle Chasers Night War, which was an RPG game, in October of 2017.
That's rough.
It's October 2019, y'all. We still ain't got the end of that damn story.
That's rough.
Oh, screw that guy. It's hilarious, but screw that guy.
He has since come back to comics for like Spider-Man runs and shit.
And just didn't want to do this thing. Oh my god.
I've got some of his artwork here in the Dave Cave. Superman saving a little boy, from a falling building and stuff. He's great, but good lord. Finish Battle Chasers, man.
Yeah,
that is
I mean,
rough.
I'm bad at finishing projects, but I'm not being paid, you know? I don't have the dedication to actually and get some discipline, grow some usefulness, and
Find a publisher or whatever.
Yeah, that would help.
Self-publish, man. Kickstart that shit. Go fund me it. It'll probably... Yeah.
Pay me per word so I
anytime-
can actually produce something.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times you'll see like a message board. Not as much anymore, but there were times over the years you'll find a message board or, Facebook posts, people complaining about Jim Lee's not doing his work as fast as he should. There's been a 2-month delay in this book. Or no, there's always like one of us who's just going, yeah, well, he's not Joe Mad. So
Could be worse, man.
remember Battle Chasers?
Right.
Remember Battle Chasers, you piece of shit?
Yeah.
Some of us will never see our heroes.
That has gone on so long that legitimately someone's first meeting with a therapist might have been like, well, have you ever read Battle Chasers? I need to talk about it.
You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect outro right there.
Yeah, I thought so.
Fair enough. All right, well, that's it then.
Yeah, guess we hit rock bottom.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't put it that way. I wouldn't put it rock bottom. What?
No. That's
Now talking about a 18-year defunct series of comic book run.
Well, as Effie has explained to us, that's what people who listen to our show for, is the chasing squirrels.
Yeah, the weirdness. Yeah,
and I've already cut out of chasing squirrels this week. I'm not doing it in this episode. This is all going up.
Oh Lord,
Sinbad and all.
Everything I've said. Ooh,
especially Sinbad.
That came back weirdly enough.
Yeah, yes. Somehow we made that relevant. Sort of.
Bit of serendipity there.
That's part of the magic of this show.
Yeah, the tangents. Every now and then you just accidentally find your way back to a trail and go, I wanted to go this way anyway.
That makes it very special. Like you don't see the others do that.
There's a straight berry lunch.
Yeah. You know the old 6 Degrees of Separation from Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Game? Yeah. Like in college, I used to play 6 Degrees of Separation to Batman and 6 Degrees of Separation to Star Trek. And at the time, being a geek was not trendy at all. Like, I was beaten thusly.
Yeah.
Not in college, but prior to that. I was just looked down upon heavily. Like I was told by, nerdy literature girls that I would never find a girlfriend. Stuff like that.
Yeah, thanks.
And it was always like, they were always just, I was like, look, this is part of our culture, part of the American pop culture. You don't understand. I can throw me a name of an actor you like, and I'll find a path back to Star Trek. I'll find a path back to Batman. Mm-hmm. And they would be like, okay, well, blah. And sure enough, it would take me like 3 times. Like no 6 degrees needed, just 3. Just. I'm like, oh, okay, well.
So and so. This property franchise also voiced a BTAS character. Fuck. Okay.
Right. Right, yeah. Or they're like, Elijah Wood, because, he was the hot shit back then. Like, Elijah Wood. And I'm like, all right.
Show the YouTube video of the death and life and death of Superman or whatever.
That shit wasn't even out yet. I was just like, all right, Lord of the Rings, Hugo Weaving, Matrix, Warner Brothers, Batman.
Warner Brothers must have done a lot for you there.
Warner Brothers did. That and Patrick Stewart in Fox's X-Men. That was a big help. Like,
nice. Yeah,
but I would purposely try to like steer away from the same route every time. So I'd be like, you'd hear things like, oh, well, he was in this movie with Tom Hanks, who was in You've Got Mail with Meg Ryan, who was in, and they'd be like, why do you know anything about Meg Ryan? And I'm like, oh, I know plenty about Meg Ryan.
Oh, sweetie.
Yep. I went right from Meg Ryan to Kate and Leopold and Hugh Jackman to Patrick Stewart to Star Trek. It was a lot of fun.
It's
and then the big moment of anger for me was some years later when I realized I see these people who made fun of me on Facebook wearing their like Iron Man and Superman shirts, and I'm like, oh, you posing pieces of shit. Like, oh, you went and saw a movie and now you're like, I'm a nerd. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, my favorite of that was it was right after the release of Man of Steel, like that weekend. Mm-hmm. I had a Superman shirt and I was walking into just a bowling alley to go play pool, and some dude across the parking lot shouted like, Hey, Jor-El! Hey, Jor-El! And I finally figured out what he was talking about. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Okay. I deeply wanted to go over there and be like, I love your enthusiasm.
But nice try.
Can we have a talk about a couple things?
No, I do want to point out before anyone points it out for me, because they will. Being a lifelong nerd, I'm not being a gatekeeper here. If the movies were their gateway into liking a thing, wonderful.
All the more good luck to them.
Yes, more the merrier. It does sting a little bit.
It's not the fact that they're like lesser nerds now. It's the fact that they were assholes about it before.
Right.
If it wasn't the exact same people, like, it wouldn't sting. It would just be like, okay, well, welcome to the club, I guess. Do you know I have a podcast? Because you know, you can listen to it. That's usually how that conversation goes, right?
No, I try to stay away from that conversation.
I have done it. I have to be like, well, I mean, do you have about 1,500 hours? Because we can't educate you on this topic. Just start on one. Skip any reviews for shows you don't want to care about.
All it takes is one. We're like a bag of potato chips.
Yep.
We give you greasy shits and anal seepage.
Okay. That was more info than I needed, really.
Well, you know, you listen to the show.
Yeah, but like, I don't want to think about it like beforehand. It's just a thing I kind of like squeeze out of my memory every time.
I don't know that's the perfect way to put it. Squeezing out of your memory. It seeps out.
I like to take a Tylenol and apply Neosporin.
What is in potato chips over in your...
away.
What?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he said either. I just talked over him.
I heard him. I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Damn it! Fuck me.
No.
I was just questioning what the hell is in potato chips over in Alabama, because I have very, very different side effects, like body wise.
Oh, you know, my body's used to that kind of garbage, so you know. Actually, I haven't eaten potato chips in not like seriously in a long time.
What is serious potato chip eating? Is it like once it gets competitive, or
like daily? I think.
Oh, geez.
Or weekly.
Like you have a big bag and you have an actual thing that's like the clippy at the top that you use to clamp down the bag because you're going to eat it at some point and you want them to remain fresh for like tomorrow night when you come back.
Well, we have the clamps on our potato chips, but I probably
I would call that a serious habit.
No. I mean, like, I probably eat potato chips like maybe like 11 to 15 potato chips every 2 or 3 weeks. And I have that number in my head because I actually have to count the chips to count my carbs and to make sure everything's on the up and up. So, but I mean, used to, I would sit down and eat like a whole damn bag of chips in a day and
knock
then
out
go
a Doritos, you know?
Yeah, and go back to Walmart and get more.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's why I became a diabetic.
Probably had something to do with that.
Related issue.
Yeah. Actually, I think Little Debbie's way more to blame.
Probably.
But,
no,
so.
it was an international thing, though, but it has been quite some time, 20, 25 years. But there used to be a thing called Olean in potato chips. Mm-hmm. That was genuinely a gastronomical nightmare. So,
no. Mm-hmm. And you find it in a lot of like low carb or not low carb, low fat potato chips.
They would argue like no fat, don't worry about it, potato chips, and then you'd eat them, and then your fucking insides would come out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was terrible. It didn't last very long at all.
And when you'd flip the bag over, as you're about to sit down and enjoy some of them, you'd flip the bag over, and there'd be like a little warning on the bag that said, "Warning may cause anal seepage."
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like, literally, that's what it would say.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you'd be like, oh, well.
That's one of those where legitimately you could look at that bag of potato chips and be like, I have medications that aren't threatening this much. Like, this is far worse. I could double my dose and still this potato would be more, harmful to me.
Yep. My wife just sent me a thing from the Joker IMDb that says the DC Comics logo appears at the end of this film and without the Justice League animation, marketing it as an alternate universe tale.
Okay.
No, yeah.
I didn't stick around for that because I really didn't expect like a scene or anything. I was like, I can listen to the score at home. It's fine. It's haunting, man. Oh, I'm not gonna pretend I can like pronounce the name of the Icelandic score composer. Thanks. Words.
No, I have no idea. And we would butcher it far worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely informed. True.
Unless there are sites dedicated to stingers. Like, I'll look it up while the credits are rolling, and if they're not, I'm like, I'm going to get out of the theater because there's people that have a job to do cleaning up, and I'm just going to get out of their way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then also with this movie, I was thinking like, I want to go have a think.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, two things. I was delighted because when we left, the employees were arguing about who could beat whom, Joker or Pennywise.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. I didn't participate, but I kind of chuckled as I was walking out. I'm like,
I thought it was a fun argument.
Like
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
One of them said like, dude, Pennywise, that shit's magical. I was like,
Yeah, like you're there's not much of a debate really, is there? But
It's like
Well,
Joker's
that's just
a superpower of taking a beating aside. Joker's a guy,
with a gun, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
and Pennywise is like a supernatural entity that has haunted a town for hundreds of years.
well, no, but he wasn't a supernatural entity.
Uh-huh. It is now.
Pennywise. I mean, I don't know about the movie. I haven't seen the movie, but in the book,
I don't either.
Pennywise
I'm
was
just
an
leaning,
ancient
but-
alien.
Yeah,
Oh, is that
Pennywise
what
was
it
an
is?
ancient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pennywise was an ancient alien that used the clown visage to scare children. Why children? Because children are the ones who actually have faith. The reason that he targeted children is because adults didn't believe in him anymore. So, like, Pennywise fed off of fear. Therefore, I don't think Pennywise would defeat the Joker because Joker wouldn't be afraid of him. Joker would be like, all right.
Yeah, okay, but he could still like technically eat him. He'd
probably
just
take
not
him.
taste as good.
Yeah,
There's no way
maybe.
Joker can actually kill the alien from another dimension. Like there's very little he has in his like what kind of ammunition is he going to use?
It does seem unlikely. Like he's not going to pull out a fucking crowbar and take down Pennywise.
No, but
No.
I think Pennywise would probably be just as ineffective towards Joker as, Freddy Krueger would be.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's all a mental thing, maybe. I don't know.
maybe.
Although that'd be a hell of a battle. Joker while he's asleep versus Freddy Krueger. Fuck.
Oh, someone.
I'm not sure Freddy makes it out of there. That is, by the way, what they're doing with Batman and the Max. Is part of it is it's called Arkham Dreams is the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it is like in that what did Max call like the fantasy world or
The
the other
Outback?
world? Yeah, the Outback.
Was it-
Part of it is
yeah.
they're in the Outback, and like one of them is like this giant fucking Leviathanish looking monstrosity that's whatever the fuck it is that Joker's made himself in the Outback, and they got to defeat that shit. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the kind of weird where I was reading the Sam Keith property and was like, yeah, Grant Morrison probably dug this.
All right. The other thing is my wife said that when she came out of the bathroom after the Joker story, there were a couple of dudes who just watched the movie, and they were just standing around like going, he wasn't even like the Joker. He was just dancing around in his tidy whities. And she was like thinking like, really?
I mean,
The whole point of the movie is not to make fun of the mentally challenged guy.
yeah, no, I mean, they missed the point. I told you I had no faith in like audiences, right? This is why. This is precisely why. I mean, I can agree with the not quite being a Joker part, but like, yeah, the making fun of him is like, what movie did you watch exactly?
Yeah. Like, okay, buddy. Well,
I kind of want to just go ask him like, what did you come here expecting? Like, what
Joker.
did you think? Like, did you blur your eyes in the trailers and think you were going to see Mark Hamill?
No, it was Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
No, you think so?
Yeah, I feel like Heath Ledger is to Joker as Christopher Reeve is to Superman. Like,
Yeah, a little
for
bit.
whatever reason, the general audience just kind of gloms on to a certain thing and just will not let it go.
Well, I don't,
Yeah,
I
it
think
became
if you-
such a phenomenon that it's there's nothing to do about it at this point. And I mean,
yeah.
especially not if you give Leto like 5 minutes, but even in this vastly different iteration, there's just the comparison is harder to make, but it's still not gonna work out in your favor necessarily. It's just gonna be like, oh, that's a great movie, but also he wasn't really the Joker, so
I'm very hopeful that it does seem like Warner Brothers has just accepted that and is just going, you know
Yeah.
what, we're doing whatever. Like,
and
because,
that's good.
You know,
that's what we want to see from them, to just have a little more attitude of like just take it. It's good. It's quality content. Have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck all
yeah.
the
No, this is-
noise.
this was something that was missing from the previous WB era. Is we're gonna make this fucking film the way we want to make it. Take your fucking medicine. That should have been the approach they had the entire time, and they didn't, and it resulted in some of the weirdness you've seen.
Yeah, like watch Joker and find out what happens when you don't take your medicine. You piece of shit.
Yeah, I've taken my medicine for this review, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I
If it came across like that,
mine.
it's good. Yep.
All right.
Sorry, I was listening to see which parts of my house are still here. I don't know.
Is
gotta go
your
check.
house still there?
Parts of the
Is it
household.
still standing? Oh, okay. Like, you never know.
Yeah, check. I was gonna
Hurricanes
listen.
and everything hitting Alabama.
Is your child a toddler
Infant.
yet?
Infant still.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would think. The house won't fall until she's a toddler.
I don't know. She's kind of strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh shit,
Who should get that from?
things going down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've got dog whimperings and doors opening. I'm gonna check on stuff.
All right. Just want to wrap it then.
That sounds like an option. Yeah, sure. I could work with that.
You guys could just say, hey, I want to go.
Oh,
Maybe guess. I've already said I'm not very bright.
Oh. Have you said that on air though? Because now you're kind of giving it away.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't mind giving the audience a peek behind the curtain.
Okay.
I genuinely in post want to start about a minute ago and just do a straight linear fade of this entire conversation, right through where I'm talking right now, and it's the last thing you hear is a tiny whisper before the fucking end credits. Just
All
fading
right.
into oblivion.
Thanks for listening to this, what do you want to call it? A supplemental Joker?
A deeper look.
A deeper look. Okay.
Well, we have a title now, I guess.
Joker, A Deeper Look with Effie Ophelders.
Ooh.
Another look, a deeper look, a second look.
The extended look edition.
Extended cut.
The ultimate for... Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Let's not go there.
Joker review, the ultimate edition.
It has more crap and
Swenwick is
characters you've
Martian
never
Manhunter.
seen before.
For some reason, I love having a second, like an alternative Joker review for a movie like this. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, which one was
Multiple
real?
choice.
You'll never know.
Right? Which one of these did you imagine?
All right. Bye, everybody. Keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.
Bye.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.